Hey there, thanks for playing World of Tanks. Thanks for taking a look at this World of Tanks video. I think this is the first video depicting Tier 10 play that I have put up here on this channel. That's kind of cool. And perhaps a little bit of a spoiler, I guess. This one actually does depict gameplay that produces at least solid, if not good stats, or stuff like damage, vehicle kills, things like that. And kind of the main plot line going on here, I'm saying things over voice chat, and then my teammates are responding by like clicking on the map and using the rotary voice commands or whatever. None of them has, as far as I can recall, none of them has like microphone going on where they can respond to me that way. But basically I'm saying some things over the voice chat there, and my teammates are just generally disagreeing with me. And I think the gist of what I'm saying is defend spawn, or stick together without spreading too far out. Basically just kind of maintain, relatively speaking at least, some position proximity in our deployment. And it looks like a lot of them generally disagree, and also just generally don't play that way. We have a lot of guys move move very quickly out to the lengths of both flanks, and you can see the enemy vehicles. There's that light tank early on I got the last shot on, and then there's these two enemy heavies that are pushing pretty much up into our spawn area right now. They went through the center part of the map, generally unnoticed and certainly uncontested, and now we need for people to be in position to fight them off. So it turns out that it was very valuable that I'm here in my top tier 10 heavy with the nice big what is it, the 150 centimeter, 15 centimeter 150 millimeter gun, I think is what the size of it is, but the large upgrade on the gun there can produce some pretty devastating shots. Like I said, ultimately I do come away with some pretty decent numbers here in this match, and the outcome is kind of interesting to see. I'll leave that, I guess, as an unknown at this point without spoiling it. I think ultimately maybe it's okay. I really think it's okay that I played the way I did. I mean, clearly I got that light tank that was coming in toward our spawn, got those, or at least helped fight off those two heavies that were coming into our spawn, and I might do a few other things here, we'll have to see, but I think it's a pretty good thing that I stayed where I was at, and maybe it was actually a good thing that my allies proceeded down either flank at a pretty good rate, pretty good speed there. Maybe both of those were good. It's kind of hard to say. It's one of those things. You can see there an ally clicking on my position as if I'm in the wrong spot. It's hard to say what would have happened if anybody had really changed their play. That's all just a big unknown, a big question mark, and there's no way to know what would have happened had anybody played differently. I think so. I just kind of wanted to explain this kind of narrative backdrop or whatever for what's going on here, at least the interactions between me and my allies in this match, and also I think it's interesting and relevant in terms of considering how ways that people can kind of, I think a really important, really big piece of learning this game well, playing this game well, It has to do with like increasing your own confidence in your own play. Ultimately, it's always going to be, you with a controller in your hand, making the decisions about where you go, when you go there, how fast you go there, all kinds of different details of playing this game. It's you with a controller in your hand. It's you, if you will, as the commander in your tank, and all the different guys in your tank or whatever. But all of those movements, all of those decisions, all of those are always up to you. And we can, especially when we have teammates that are expressing themselves to us, we do have the option of playing more according to what our teammates might want for us or want from us. Sometimes that can be okay. I think, generally speaking, I just want to suggest that I really do think that a part of ultimately improving, just overall improving one's own game in World of Tanks, it has to do with coming up with your own ideas, your own guesses, your own hypotheses, your own expectations about what would be a good thing to do, or alternatively about if I, went here at this point in time, what I would expect to happen based on what I know about my team and the map and the enemies. And alternatively, in that given moment, if I were to make a different decision, go through a different course of action, having some sort of an expectation, some sort of an idea about what the consequences of that alternative course of action would be. And of course, a lot of that's based on, past gameplay, past experience, things like that. Maybe you tried something once, it didn't go as well as you would have liked, and so maybe you don't try that again, or maybe you try to do it in a slightly different way, maybe you time it differently. But that kind of experimentation, that kind of, if you will, hypothesizing and then experimenting, I just want to promote that. I want to suggest that that's actually just a really good part, maybe even a very much an integral and very much a necessary part of improving your own game. It might not be the case that you're ever just absolutely amazing. It might not be the case that I'm ever just absolutely amazing at this game. And nevertheless, it is possible, and I think it's a really good thing. Here, I'm just kind of being smart with my allies, but it is possible to improve your own play, and it is possible to. I think it's a good process too. I think it might be the only, like the single most important part of improving your own play might be simply to play according to your own ideas, test your own ideas, do your best with what those ideas are, and learn from them. If it goes well, learn from that. If it goes poorly, learn from that. Rather than just maybe always applying according to what your allies or a friend in the room with you, rather than playing according to what other people would have you do, playing according to your own experiences of the game and your own thoughts of the game. And that way you can, if you're really playing according to your own thoughts, then you have an understanding, like you understand the background or the backdrop, you understand the reasoning behind those decisions, those experiments that you were trying out. If someone else is suggesting a particular course of action, you're never really going to be fully clear, even if they do their best explaining it to you. You're never really going to be fully clear on what their thoughts were behind making that suggestion. Maybe they had some amazing experience. Maybe it really is the right thing to do or the better thing to do. And there can be value in learning from that stuff too. Nevertheless, overall, especially in terms of like your overall, World of Tanks playing career, if you will, you're going to eventually at some point ultimately need to form your own ideas. about how to play the game. Form your own ideas about what's more or less desirable, more or less effective in given circumstances. So again, here with this match, I was expressing my thoughts about what would be good for our team to deploy, or what would be good for our team to do, or whatever. And generally speaking, my teammates, by and large, disagreed with me. I think there were one or two guys that kind of played according to the way that I was explaining or describing, but by and large, our team did not. And maybe it's the case that in order for this particular outcome that we've just witnessed here, maybe it is the case that we all played exactly the way that we needed for things to go, so that we get this outcome. Maybe if people had stayed back, as I was kind of suggesting, maybe we would have ultimately lost. Maybe I wouldn't have come away with all of these numbers that I've got here. And if alternatively, if I had pushed forward, as perhaps others seem to have wanted me to have done, if I had pushed forward, well, certainly I wouldn't have been in a position to take some of those early shots that we all saw me taking there. That light tank, then those two heavies coming in, for example, and other shots as the match was progressing. But anyway, maybe if I'd pushed out really quick or really fast, I wouldn't have had the numbers, and maybe our team wouldn't have come away with this outcome. They all played according to their own ideas, and I played according to my own ideas, and I think it kind of worked out. This is all a product of our own individual experiences and perceptions, and interpretations of those experiences, and interpretations of what does and does not work well given the particulars of those circumstances. Well, thanks for taking a look at this World of Tanks video. Thanks for playing World of Tanks.